Everybody, I am Katrina from In Cat We Trust on another episode of Kicking Back with Cat. And here I have with me the beautiful Amber Rodriguez. How are you today?
Hello, how are you? I'm doing good.
That's good. I'm okay, hanging in there. So I've been seeing like your work for the last 2 years. I tell people I'm like kind of new to indie wrestling. I want to say like maybe 4 or 5 years where I started realizing like, oh, there's like all these awesome, amazing shows with other people. But women's wrestling in particular, I'm always like really happy to see because I just love seeing women in the ring doing their thing and kicking ass and all of that. So for you, I know you had like so many amazing matches over the time you've been wrestling. What is like a match that like either stands out for you or like a favorite opponent you may have wrestled?
Favorite opponent, it's a tie between Mickey James and Nyla Rose. Um, Nyla especially, that's my best friend. She's like my sister. Uh, for my favorite match, I love when we tag together at
Uh-huh.
the sanctuary. This was like 7 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago.
Uh-huh.
It was a minute ago. And yeah, like just the chemistry we had from like literally being around each other, living together. And so like being around each other all the time.
Uh-huh.
It's nice to have a partner where you're like so in sync. So that's definitely one of my favorites.
She's amazing. I love her.
Yeah.
And Mickey James is like such a like a legend in wrestling. Has she's given you like any like advice or any like tips for wrestling since she's been doing it for some time now?
Yeah, I mean, I soak up knowledge from so many. I'm blessed to have so many great mentors and just resources and people that I can reach out to that are available um, to young talent, like them, or even Jazz. Her and I talk here and there, and it's just great to be able to reach out to these people and be like, is this a dumb idea? Like, so it's definitely good to have those resources.
That's great. And I love Jess. I got to meet her, I think I want to say June, I believe, of this year, which was really like amazing. I had like, oh my God, I like watched you on TV. So it was like just she was so kind and gave such good
Yes.
advice for somebody just kind of starting with just getting into wrestling. Not that I'm wrestling because I can never, but
Oh.
like just as far as like doing like the wrestling interviews and stuff, just like super amazing advice. So definitely that's like amazing that you get to have that just like piggyback off if anything, if you just want to bounce things out there. So if somebody is watching, I guess, your gimmick, like never seen you wrestle before, and you want to introduce somebody to you as the wrestler, how would you describe that to somebody who's new to you in the ring?
So it's funny you mentioned that. I actually just repackaged myself. So I am also an esthetician in real life, and so recently I kind of brought that into my wrestling persona. And I now go by the moniker the Mad Esthetician, the perfectly constructed woman. The idea is that I made myself perfect, and now I'm making my opponents perfect in my image, whether they want it or not. So,
I love that whole like it sounds like confident at the same time, kind of
yeah,
heelish, but super confident. Like doing
delusional
this.
is the best way to describe it.
And how did you get into that work in regards to the esthetician part? Like, was that something you always wanted to do, or is just like kind of working with
So,
ideas over the years?
my sister and I recently created our own skincare line, Ashley Renee Beauty Company. And so that's a cheap plug, but so along with that, I kind of found my niche in skincare and just the beauty industry in general. I had also, for a period of time, shadowed a more senior esthetician at a local wellness spa, and it just really, it's like when you find a new like thing that you feel
Yeah.
like this is gonna be my thing, like outside of wrestling and
Yeah.
other stuff that I do. This is like something I'm super passionate about. I love making people feel beautiful. I love helping people with skincare issues, or I do a lot of body contouring as well, and so I love just helping people reach their goals and just put smiles on their faces, and just knowing I could have, or knowing that I did anything to aid in that.
Yeah.
Especially new moms, and your body goes through so many changes, so being able to offer like cavitation treatments or body sculpting treatments, it's very rewarding. And so yeah, like with wrestling, I felt that I was kind of starting to blend in a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And so the key is you're always trying to stand out, you're always looking to stand out. And so I was like, well, I love this, like, for real, so much. My aesthetics career, like, why not kind of, and I love wrestling as well, so why not kind of
Yeah.
merge the two? And here I am. So, and then I also have a weird obsession with plague doctors. So there's that, and it's kind of like its own machine at this point.
So you mentioned your mom as so I totally like I always tell people moms have like double the job because you got to do your other stuff, but then mom, you kind of can't turn off being a mom. It's just always
Right.
there. So how has that been in regards to not only doing your skincare line, because you're like a CEO, but then you're also like traveling the world and you're, wrestling and stuff. So how is that on top of being a mom?
I try to incorporate Adrian's my baby's name. I try to incorporate Adrian into as much as I can. I don't want to miss a moment with her. I don't, and it's no shade to anybody, but I don't want to be one of those parents that are just like always on the road and always doing something and they barely see
Yeah.
their kid. And I want to make it clear to her, like, I do all of this for you. You know what I mean? Because I don't want you to want for anything. And the fact that I'm also passionate about these projects is like even more of a motivational force. So even with like my skincare line, so all of our products are handmade. We make everything in house. My baby helps me package and mix stuff up herself. Like, so I put her to work. And then and it's like it's a fun thing for her. And then even little things like I started working out at home more just so I could spend more time with her. You know what I mean? And she's got a little 5-pound dumbbells. She tries to lift with me and stuff. So just trying to incorporate her into as much as possible. So
I love that you said in regards, and again, I do understand not shading anybody who I guess have to do if they need to be like out of the home. But I'm a mom, so I totally get like trying to find things you can do where you're happy, but also doing what you can for your kids and hope that you can give them more than I guess you had growing up. Because
right.
that's always my thing. It's like I love so many things that I like to do, but I also want to make sure that you guys are happy. So like.
Right.
That balance. So that's like really cool that you have her like even helping out a little bit with packaging and stuff, because that's something you always can just use. I tell my kids all the time, like if I tell you something, sometimes you just never know you can use this when you get older, and you're like, oh yeah, I kind of have experience already. So that's pretty cool. I also know you was in the military for a bit of time. How was there like a reason you felt you needed to do that, and how was that transitioning back into wrestling? Because I know you said it was like a period you left for a bit and then came back. So how was that for you?
I wanted to find myself. I know it sounds kind of cliche, but like, so yeah, wrestling just kind of became. I don't even know how to describe it. I had a lot of weird feelings toward wrestling for a minute. Back in 2015, I was dealing with a lot mentally. One of those things being sexual assault. And so I just walked away. Long story short, I just walked away, and yeah, I joined the military to find myself again, to find out who I am and just more about me. And it did that for me. And after I had my kid, I just sat back and kind of thought about it, because so many people that I had to remove from my life, just for being so toxic or just having such a negative way of thinking, would say like, oh, your life is over now, like you got a kid, like this is it. And it's like, no, like why, like your life is just starting, if anything.
Yeah.
And now you got a little audience member. You know what I mean? Somebody has a
Yeah.
front row seat now. So, I mean, take it and run with it. And I just sat back and thought about wrestling. Like, this is my dream. Like, why do I have to stop and put this on hold? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, why not do this and show my kid, like, man, I went through some horrible things, but look at what I turned it into. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, um, yeah, in 2019, I took a leap of faith and started wrestling again.
I love that answer. It wasn't cliche at first. Finding yourself, I feel like you can find yourself probably for the rest of your life. There's things change, and your person, you get into a new phase in life. So it's always good to kind of evolve and become better in whatever capacity possible. So there's nothing wrong with wanting to find yourself, even
Yeah.
as we get older and stuff. So I know you worked in a lot of wrestling companies, and I've seen you're like an Elevate Pro and seen you in quite a few companies just popping out. I'm like, okay, I see her. So again, I love seeing women of color just like do their thing in wrestling. So what is like if you have a favorite promotion you've worked for, have you had like, what are some of your experience working for all of these different promotions? Do you have like favorite moments from those promotions?
Well, recently I went back home to MCW, to Maryland Championship Wrestling, and that was just like such a beautiful moment. You know, walking back through the curtain after so long.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Um, so yeah, that's MCW is always going to have a little place in my chilly little heart. Um, and Mission Pro is an amazing place to work. I mean, Thunder Rosa, that woman is phenomenal. I mean, just beyond words. So it's always empowering to go there. Um, Elevate Pro is a great place. I love Brittany. Um, yeah, it's a lot. I feel like I'm leaving a bunch of places out. Now I feel weird, but there's nowhere that I'd say is like, oh, this is horrible. Like everywhere that I've been working and like debuting at, it's been an experience. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And it's been, I always take something away from everywhere I work. Amaris Blair's somebody that I mentor, and I'm really big on, what did you take away from this? What did you learn today? You know what I mean? So everywhere is going to give you an experience. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, MCW is my home.
Do you have like a dream opponent, somebody you have not wrestled yet, but you would love to kind of
Jazz.
step in the ring with?
Jazz.
Ah, nice. Would you want it to be like just a regular match or like a gimmick match or wherever you can do with her? Because like she's just so amazing.
No, it has to be a regular, just good old singles match, man. Like, so Auntie, if you're watching this.
What I know you mentioned like you do skincare, but I'm always curious, like before you got into skincare, if there was a career choice for you that didn't involve wrestling, what would that be if we took away the skincare aspect and took away wrestling? Was there something you could see yourself like, this could have been my life if I went this route?
I don't know, man. I'd probably do something weird, like join the circus. Like, I don't know. I don't know, like, just I don't know, something where I'm like performing to some extent and like bringing people joy.
That's funny. I haven't. Oh God, I haven't been in the circus in years. I mean, I don't
I'm
even know
very
what.
ridiculous.
How would you say, like, in regards to traveling and being on the road, how has that like may have impacted in regards to like your personal life? Do you think it makes it easier in regards to personal aspects, or do you find it like a bit of a burden necessarily, or like is it hard, or you have to sacrifice like that kind of stuff?
Okay, I'm back. You know how you freak out when something goes wrong? It's like,
Yeah.
But no, to answer your question, being on the road is always great. It's funny because first time around I was wrestling, I didn't have a car of my own. Like, I didn't get my license until I was like 21, and that within itself is like a saga because I am a horrible driver. Like, I failed my road test like 7 times. Like, that's a whole other thing. But the point is, I couldn't really get around on my own. I had to depend on other people. But this time around, I'm an adult, and like, I'm able to, get around on my own. And a lot of my road trips are actually by myself. So I'm able to like think a lot, just kind of like decompress. And that's like my time. That's my me time, if that makes sense. Just on the road, just jamming out. You know what I mean? Clearing my head and stuff like that. So it's very therapeutic. And so I come home and I'm like tired and banged up, but I'm able to spend a lot of time with me, and I'm appreciative of that.
Definitely self-care or like time to yourself is important, especially when you're a mom. When I tell people, I'm like, listen, that trip to the store, like it is, but it isn't. It's like you can call that a time to yourself, but technically if you're like doing mom stuff, it's not really time to yourself. So definitely just something that's just for you is so important in being a mom. I tell people now that I've learned this, like I used to feel so guilty of wanting to do things away sometimes, but like now I'm like, it's okay to get a little bit of just me time, and it's perfectly okay and it's fine. So definitely that's something super important. What are your thoughts on the current state of wrestling? We have all these like promotions now. We have the Forbidden Door open, but most importantly, we're starting to see people appreciate women's wrestling in general. More people have eyes on women's wrestling. So what are your thoughts on like wrestling currently than let's say from 5 years ago or so?
So wrestling is always evolving. Like, that's the beautiful thing about wrestling. It's always changing. It's always evolving. It's always turning different corners, which is what's happening now. And it's funny how, like you said, like even from like 5 years ago to now, like women's wrestling, specifically, like it's gone from like here to here to here in like this amount of time. Even 2 Black women main eventing WrestleMania. Like, who would have thought? You know what I mean? So it's amazing. I don't have any complaints, but the internet wrestling community, they always find something to be upset about. But me personally, I have no complaints about where we're going so far. Yeah, it could always be better. Yeah, there's always going to be room for improvement. Yeah, this thing happened on TV and it shouldn't have happened, or it wasn't a good look. But that's when we just try something else and move on. You know what I mean? So I don't sweat anything too much. I mean, it's not my paycheck being affected. So I just watch and enjoy the show. It's nice to kind of like just be a fan at times too. You know what I mean? So
if someone was coming to you like wanting to break into wrestling and you can offer them one piece of advice, what would that advice be to that person?
Stick to it. See it through. It's gonna suck sometimes, probably a lot of the time, but you gotta remember why you started. You gotta remember why you started and just see it through. You know what I mean? Have a great support system, because that really makes a difference. You know what I mean? Check your circle. Your circle should be encouraging and at the same time holding you accountable, but not just, filled with just negativity, if that makes sense. So make sure you have a good circle, have a good support system, and, see it through on the bad days. Remember why you started, and just keep going and stay true to yourself. Stay true to yourself, because nobody in this business is going to protect you and care for you like you. So you got to look out for you, and you got to be your number one supporter, and you got to be just, you have your support system, and you also have to be a support system for you as well, if that makes sense. So, yeah.
No, that makes perfect sense. You're like absolutely right with like the bits of knowledge you're dropping right now with regards to.
I'm gonna write a book.
Listen, I write fiction, but listen, I'm all for women writing stuff too. So you
Yeah.
read a book, I would definitely buy it because you're just dropping them bits of knowledge. Like, definitely have a good circle, but also have to worry about like, take care of yourself. That is so important, I think, in just all aspects of life in general. Just,
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
mindful of that. So we're gonna do like a quick speed round to kind of lighten this up, or more so like just change it up a bit. So I'm gonna ask you
Yeah.
a question and you just give me like the first answer that comes to mind. So last show you binge watched.
You.
Ah, that's my show. I love that show.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good.
Current song you have on repeat.
Everybody's Full by Evanescence.
Ah, love that. Ah, you just listen. I feel like I'm
Yeah.
just loving you word next to word. Yes, oh my god. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Night Owl.
Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Ah, yes. Okay, I have to ask. Who is your favorite Marvel character?
It's between Tony Stark and actually no. Yeah, it's just Tony Stark because like hold on one second. These notifications. Yeah, I couldn't take it when he died. Like I had to fast forward cuz like it tugged at me and yeah, man. So yeah, Iron Man. Oh my
If
Iron
you
Man.
can have, yeah, I do love Iron Man too, and I feel like Robert Downey Jr. made me like the character a lot more because he's so
Yeah.
sarcastic, and I'm like, oh, you like speak to
And
my heart.
see,
Like there's something.
I was gonna say it's between him and Doctor Strange. You know what I mean? Like I took
Yeah.
a lot of inspiration from Doctor Strange, even with my present character. But my first love was Iron Man. Like that's when I first started even like really getting into Marvel like that,
Uh-huh.
especially in the movies. So
If you can talk to one person, dead or alive, who would that be and why?
oh man, so not to darken things up, but
Uh-huh.
my best friend had passed away in 2016. Her name was Stephanie. She passed away from drug overdose. And so many things happened. I just wish I could pick up the phone and tell her about it. She was like one of my biggest supporters with wrestling. So yeah.
Well, no, like listen, I've lost a friend recently, like a year ago, to COVID actually. So it
Yeah.
was like, yeah, I
Sorry.
wish I can talk to her like all the time. Like she was like one of my biggest supporters as well. Like with everything I did, she was always the
Yeah.
first person. So totally understand. Just wanted to, oh, I want to hear your voice again. Like
Yeah.
totally understand that. If there's any wrestler you could tag team with that is not Nyla Rose, that you could just go on a tag team with and just have whatever kind of match you want to have, who would that be?
Probably Trish Stratus. She's cool, man. Like it's everything. If it were a dude, I'd say it would be between like Shawn Michaels and Triple H. I'm a huge Triple H fan.
Oh, yeah, I'm a big Shawn Michaels fan. He was the reason I actually became a wrestling fan. Just is so like flamboyant. Like,
Same.
yeah, I
Yeah.
I tell people like
Same.
I got obsessive a bit with like the Hardy Boys because I love Jeff Hardy's craziness, but Shawn
Yeah.
Michaels was the person that got me watching, and I'm like, oh, who's this guy? Like he's like
Yeah.
so over the top, and I love it. So definitely
Yeah.
love Shawn Michaels. Triple H, he used to irk me when I was younger. He,
What?
he was like
I
always
feel
just
like they're a
irking me.
package deal.
Yeah, I feel like as an adult, I appreciate him more. Like the heels, I appreciate a lot more. But as a kid, oh, he just really irritated me so much. So I'm like, dude, can we not?
Oh.
Can we not mess up with my people, please? Can we not? So, if you were stuck on an island and you can only take three things, what would those things be?
I feel like I have to save my kid. Yeah. Let's throw her in there. My phone. I'm definitely a phone person, like always on my phone. Um, Wine. Since my kid's there, you know how it is.
I definitely do. Okay, that's it for the speed round. Thank you for doing that. It's just something to switch up the, the interview a bit. So this is the time for you. If you anything you want to promote or share, this is the floor is yours to tell the viewers what you have happening, what you have going on, and what they can look out for.
Yes. So you can follow me on Instagram and IG at one Amber Rodriguez. They're both the same, so it's easy. Facebook and YouTube as Amber Rodriguez. Go to ashleyreneebeauty.com and shop all your skincare holistic needs. Support a Black-owned, female-ran business. What else we got going on? I'm booked like all the time in so many places, and I hate being on the spot because I have to think about what's next. Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment in October. I have Bayou Independent Wrestling also in October. What else do we got going on? Combat sports. I'll be defending my Revolt Women's Championship in November here in Foley, Alabama. And yeah, just follow me. I'm always posting about what I have coming up next. So
I will definitely be checking out your skincare line because I'm always I like supporting Black women in general. Just doing, I think that's always such an important thing.
Yeah.
Just women, but especially Black women, just got to support. So I would definitely be checking that out, and I will have every link she's mentioned on the comment section and the description. So please follow, share, like, support her and everything that she is doing. And I want to thank you so much, Amber, for joining me. I know it's a bit like I know it's weird. I was like, oh, let me just see if I can get her on here because I love you. I love you in the ring, and I'm like just always trying to get like more women on the podcast, just like to support women wrestling in general. So thank you so much for taking time out of your day for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, well, I want to thank you, Juan, for your service because you also serve. So thank you for that. And, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day with your, all of your endeavors and your beautiful baby girl. And, hope to get you back on soon.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Bye.